Welcome to my channel again. Today we will discuss a sonnet, Asleep in the Valley. The sonnet named is Asleep in the Valley. It is written by Jean-Nicolas Arthur Rimbaud, a French poet. It is a sonnet. So at first we concentrate on a sonnet. What is a sonnet? Actually, sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. Sonnet is a poem of 14 lines with particular rhyme scheme. This sonnet is a Petrarchan type of sonnet or Italian sonnet. That means the poem is consisted of 14 lines and it is consisted of two parts. The first 8 lines, 4 lines and the 4 lines, this first 8 line is called octave, and the last 6 lines, 3 lines plus 3 lines, it is called sestet. It is called sestet. Now, what type of poem is this? This is the theme of the poem is anti-war poem or futility of war. Arthur Rimbaud is a French poet. He is considered as a boy poet. Why he is called as boy poet? Because he started writing from his boyhood and he stopped writing when he reached at the age of only 19. But his style, his diction, his thinking, his imagination influenced many famous personalities like Pablo Picasso, the great artist, and also Bob Dylan, the great singer and Nobel laureate. Now, let us read the poem. Asleep in the Valley. So, what is called valley? Valley means this portion, suppose a plain land between two hills. This is called valley. A plain land between two hills or mountains. A plain land among mountains. It is called valley. Asleep in the valley. Asleep means a person is sleeping. The condition of sleeping is called asleep in the valley. That means the line, the title suggests that someone is sleeping in the valley. Writer Arthur Rimbaud was a soldier and his father was also an army officer. His father was also an army officer. Rimbaud, the pronunciation, note as the pronunciation, Jean-Nicolas Arthur Rimbaud. The original title of the poem, it was written in French, and this is a translated form of his poem, and the original name of the poem Asleep in the Valley is Les Dormeurs du Val. Les Dormeurs du Val. It was the French title and it was published in Anthologie Lemare in 1888. Anthologie Lemare in 1888. Those words, Anthologie Lemare, the Dormeurs du Val, these all words suggest that this poem was written in French, and his name also Jean Arthur Nicolas Arthur Rimbaud. The pronunciation is Rimbaud. Now let's start. A small green valley where a slow stream flows. The very first line suggests a peaceful atmosphere, a peaceful scenery of a valley, a small green valley. The valley is a small valley one, and it is verdant, that means green in color, because lots of green trees, shrubs and also green grass are there where a slow stream flows, and in between and through the valley there is a slow stream. Stream means a rivulet, a small river. A slow stream flows. That means a small river flows very slowly. That means a small river, mountain runs very slowly and leaves long strands of silver on the bright grass, and leaves long strand of silver. Suppose the poet here uses It's like the poet uses a binocular and he looks at the value from a distance. Gradually he zooms in the value. At first, at the first looks, he notices a long strands of silver on the bright grass. On the bright grass, the river flows and the sunlight flows on the rippling of the river water, and for the reflection, it seems far away that that silver strands means ribbon or threads spread on the green grass. So this is a beautiful images described by the poet, and it is all about a valley, description of a beautiful description of a landscape of a valley. Next, from the mountain top streams the sun. This is very interesting line. From the mountain top, suppose this is the mountain, from the mountain top of the mountain stream the suns. Here stream and here stream. This stream is a noun. It means a small river, a mountain river. Here stream is a verb. It means flows. Stream the sun's rays. That means from, suppose here there is a sun. So sun's rays that flows. The sun shines, and the poet imagines that from the top of the mountain the sunlight is described the water of a river, and it flows to the green valley. They fill the hollow full of light. This is called hollow. The vacant place of the hill is filled with the bright sunlight. This is the first stanza of the poem. Here the poet describes the scenery of a valley where we can see a small zigzag or winding river passes through the valley, through the green grass, and the valley is totally beautiful and full of bright color, especially green color. Now the second stanza of the poem, a soldier. Now the poem zooms in. At first the poet sees the whole valley. Now the poet focuses on a particular place, a rather small place. Here he sees a soldier, very young. We see a soldier, a very young soldier, lies open mouth. A soldier is lying in the valley, in the green valley, and his mouth is open. His mouth is open. He lies open mouth. He is lying with opening his mouth. A pillow made of fern. Here, a pillow. We use a pillow to sleep in the bed. A pillow in the valley. There is no man-made pillow. Here the nature supplies the soldier a pillow, and the pillow is made of fern. With the help of the fern, there is dense fern. So the soldier here uses the fern and keeps his head on the ferny area, and it seems that the ferns act as a pillow beneath his head. The pillow is under his head, but the pillow is made of fern. Next, asleep. He is sleeping, stretched in the heavy undergrowth. Stretched, extended his body. The soldier extended his body beneath his head. In the heavy undergrowth. Here, undergrowth means the trees or shrubs that has not achieved the full growth. Undergrowth means shrubs or bushes. Under some bushes or shrubs, the soldier is sleeping by opening his mouth and stretching his body fully. Pale, this is very important word, pale, in his warm green sun-soaked bed. Pale, the soldier looks very pale in his warm green sun-soaked bed. The soldier's bed is made of green grass, and the grass gets warmed from the sun. As the sun shining at that particular time, it's a daytime, so the bed is warm. Warm means comfortable, not hot. but warm means comfortable bed with the heat of the sun. The bed is made of green grass. His feet, now his head is on the fern-made pillow. He is lying under a bush with his mouth open and stretched his body. Now his feet, we can see the feet. The poet focuses, the poet removes the focus from his head to his feet, the soldier's feet. His feet among the flowers. His feet is lying, keeping among some wild flowers. He sleeps. Now the poet says that it seems that the soldier is sleeping peacefully in the green valley with his pillow, fern-made pillow and green warm bed under the bushes, and keeping his feet inside in the flowers, in the wild flowers. He sleeps. His smile is like an infant. The soldier, very young soldier, has a smile on his face, and his smile is compared to the smile of a very small child, that is infant, baby. A baby then achieves the stage of infant without guile. Infant smile, here infant smiles gentle. The smile is very beautiful, gentle, meek, and without guile. Guile means trickery. That means totally pure smile stuck on the face of the young soldier who is sleeping in the green valley. Nature. Now the poet requests nature. Nature, N is capital letter, it is personified, and nature acts as a caring and affectionate and loving mother. Here the poet urges nature, requests or pleads the nature, keep him warm. He means the soldier. Keep the soldier warm. Why? The poet appeals in the nature to keep the soldier warm, because he may catch cold. He may catch cold because the soldier may be suffering from cold. He will be suffering from fever. So the poet requests the mother nature to protect the soldier, from the severeness of the cold. Next, the humming insects don't disturb his rest. And there are the poet sees some insects. They are flying and buzzing. They are singing in a low tune, but they do not disturb his rest. That means the soldier's rest. Here rest again, that means his sleep. He sleeps and rests. These words comes again and again. Here he sleeps in sunlight. As it is the daytime, the soldier, very young soldier, sleeps in the sunlight, one hand on his breast. He is sleeping by keeping his head on the fern-made pillow and opening his mouth with a smile that is like an infant without guile, and by keeping one hand on his breast. At peace, he is sleeping at peace, totally in tranquil, peaceful atmosphere. He is now in sound sleep. There is no disturbance in his sleep in his sight. But this is the main point, this is the turning point, and this is the climax of the poem. That this portion, the poem, if we read the poem reads, that is a mere description of a valley and a soldier is lying there. But this line especially, the two red holes in his side, there are two red holes. In his side, there are two red holes. That means in the body of the soldier. The poet now, when the poet zooms in and see more prominently, that the poet now discovers that there are two red holes on the body of the soldier. That means the soldier is killed with two shots, with two bullet shots, with two gun shots. That means the soldier is dead. So, if we read again the poem, the meaning of the poem changes. The Rabo here very beautifully presents the theme of anti-war theme and the futility of war. in his poem, but he uses very artistically. There is no word in the poem, there is only mention a soldier, but last two words, two red hose, these three words totally changes the meaning, totally change the meaning of the poem. So again we can see, if we see the first four lines is the description of a valley, and the fifth to eighth line we can see a soldier is sleeping in the valley, but the soldier is not sleeping, actually he is dead. The soldier is in his eternal sleep. A young soldier here dies. A young soldier is died, he is the victim of war. So the poet is against the war, because the war does not bring peace, it only brings destruction. There are two types of poets who writes and wrote on war. One group always glorifies, like Rupert Brooke always glorifies the war, because they are not actually soldier. They did not witness, but do not witness the life of the soldier. They do not participate in the war. But Rupert Brooke, Arthur Rimbaud, Siegfried Session, and they are the poets who participated in the war, so they witnessed the war, the destruction of the war, the bloodbath of the war. So through their pen they only present the real picture, that means the futility of war brings nothing. So here Rimbaud's aim is also to present the futility of war, but the poem is beautifully presented in the midst of a tranquil, peaceful atmosphere in a valley. But the last three lines, the last line, the three words convey us the destructive power of war, that brings life, that cannot create life, that cannot make peace, that only create destruction. Thank you watching my video.